Hello, guys. I got too excited. I clicked live before I set my phone up in this device. So here we go. Okay. I get excited because today's topic is a very fun one and a very simple one. So, Yana Kasperczak, your spiritual awakening core energy coach, and my soul's purpose is to help you get your shit together so you can break free from that mental prison you find yourself in and live the life that you love and can be proud of. So, today's topic is until you fully embrace and allow yourself to be 100% yourself, you will continue to feel imprisoned. Mental prison is one of my favorite phrases, or I call it a phrase, even though it's just two words, because it is, to me, it's so powerful. Those two words are so powerful because this is how most of us are living. We're living in a mental prison. Not in a physical one, but in the mental one. And the mental prison is so much worse than the actual prison. Yeah, maybe the conditions are better being out here. Maybe you have better food, maybe you have better things out here, but in prison, many people don't feel like they're in prison. They feel very free and they feel happy and they're joyful. Again, this is not again. This is just an assumption, and I say this based on how many of you guys say to yourselves, I am horrible with names? I'll put my hand up. This is one of those phrases that is so hard to break away from, where I just I can't remember names. I'm so bad with names. And then all of a sudden, you don't remember names. We become what we tell ourselves. So if we don't allow ourselves to be ourselves, then who are we trying to be? If you are not being yourself, then who are you trying to be? That's a great question, because if you start to dissect that question, as in you actually start answering that question and you start seeing who are you actually being. If you're not being your true self, who are you being? And sometimes you will be able to pinpoint exactly who you're being, whether you're being your mom or you're being your dad, or you being your aunt or your grandma, or the sassy lady that you watched on the TV a long time ago and you still love that sassiness funk, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take that little piece of personality and I'm going to put it into this one right here, and I'm gonna be this new person, right? That was the conscious choice that I was expressing that we can all make. But more often than not, we make choices unconsciously based on who we are, right? Who we are being, not necessarily who we are, but we are expressing who we are throughout our day. And many of us are not happy with that self-expression of the self because it is so muddy. It's full of everybody else's dirt. There's just like an experiment coming to mind. If you put dirt inside a bottle of water and you shake it up, that's going to be all over the water. It's going to be throughout the water, right? And it's going to be very noticeable that it's throughout the water. But if you allow that water to settle and the dirt to settle within that water, the dirt will go to the bottom and it'll stay there at the bottom until it is shook again. So we are just like that bottle of water with dirt inside of us. And that bottle of water has some holes, and some pieces of dirt will be harder to get out of that bottle than other pieces of dirt. So as you shake, some of them, as you're triggered, as the dirt goes all throughout you, you're getting triggered, right? And that's great news, because what happens when you're triggered? You are now aware that there's dirt all over your system. And I would love to hear, what do you do? What is your go-to or your go-tos? And let's be honest here, okay? I don't want to hear what you want to do when you're feeling unsettled, when there's a lot of things happening, when either you're triggered or something came up for you, for yourself, or you remembered something, when there was a smell, and all of a sudden you're triggered. Doesn't matter who or what triggered you, now you are triggered and there's things happening. That dirt that in the bottle that is you has been shook and it needs to be settled. So I want to hear the honest responses. Do you go and sit with it? Or do you go and ignore it and avoid it? Or what do you do most of the time? 90% of the time, what do you do? Because the other 10% of the time is usually the things that we do in the 10% are the things that we want to do. But the 90% of the time are the typical things that we typically do. So our typical responses, our typical reactions, which would be to shut down and in a way cower in fear, where you can find yourself just not wanting to do anything, not wanting to show up, and have no energy, no drive, and no desire. And the reason why this is happening is because at some point in your life, the shit that I keep calling it shit because it is in the way shit, but in the bottle example, that's dirt. So let's just, I guess, convert the shit into dirt in the bottle. So as you're shaking the shit in the bottle, right? So throughout your life, what happens is you're given everybody else's shit through the art of communication. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. Communication is communication. And you are it does matter, of course, but in this instance, we're not talking about the positive, negative. We're just talking about communication and how when you are going through life communicating with other living beings, you're learning. You are interpreting your world. You're interpreting your existence. Let me see how this, because I see there's probably some live videos on here as well. Sorry, live videos. Comments in here as well, but I don't see any comments either. I don't know. I'll have to figure something out with this device. Anyway, so what happens is you're going through life, somebody else has learned something, whether it's your mom, your dad, or your grandma, or you learn something on TV, or your friend, or your neighbor, and they share it with you. Now, they might have shared something in excitement with you, or they might have shared something with you out of fear, and you take that in. Some of it you take in consciously, and other things you take in unconsciously. And then unconsciously, what happens, you have certain way of perceiving the world. And based on the ways that you see and perceive the world, you are going to interpret your life experiences or your experiences in a certain way, and you're going to make sense of them in your mind. So you're going to create stories. And throughout the creation of these stories, you're creating certain programs. And part of those programs are limits. And one of the biggest limits that you have learned throughout your life to put in place for yourself is that, and all of us have a different limit for this, okay, is how much of yourself you're allowing yourself to be every single day, and how much of yourself you are suppressing and numbing and pushing away or ignoring and avoiding and abandoning. That is yourself, based on your program that is not allowing you to do that, which you had decided was going to be the very thing that was going to keep you safe at some point when you were young, when you were just trying to make sense of the world in the young mind that you had, and now you're doing the same thing. That is where the spiritual awakening comes in, where you are awakening now to your true self, and you now have the choice to continue numbing and ignoring and avoiding, or do the very thing that you don't want to do. I wish I had my my little quote book with me, but there is a quote that I wrote down a while back, and I was rewriting them on my little cue cards. And the quote went something along these lines: that you often find your purpose in your path. Sorry, you often find your purpose on the path that you fight to avoid. So the thing that you try to fight and avoid and not do, which is yourself, which is you being your true self, or there's other things in your life as well that you might be fighting against or not allowing yourself to do and experience, because you once again are limiting yourself, because you at your core, in your roots, that deep down in your roots, believe that you are not worthy of those things. You deep down believe that you are not worthy of happiness, that you are not lovable, that you are not enough, and no matter what you do, you believe that you can never do or be enough. And that alone is crippling. That seeps through the entire existence, the entire day-to-day being, your habits, your intentions, your actions, your reactions, your behaviors, through everything that you are. All of these things are happening and will continue to happen until you fully embrace and allow yourself to be your true self, who you know you are. And you know who you are because when you notice certain things in other people, you almost like you want those things, and you you want to become in that way, or certain personality traits, certain maybe behaviors you notice in other people, and you want them yourself. But the reason why you want them yourself is because at some point you have not allowed yourself to be that way. And so you suppressed that part of yourself. And that's why you're able to recognize those parts of yourself through other people, through your experiences. Right now you're watching this video, you're experiencing certain things. Chances are there's things that are coming up for you as well. And maybe you're feeling triggered, maybe you're feeling awakened and more connected and more inspired and motivated. How are you feeling right now? I'm curious to know. Now, with the topic of today, feeling imprisoned, what would your life be like if you woke up one morning? You know when that morning is going to be, because it'll be a surprise. That's the joy of life, full of surprises. More good ones than bad ones. But what would your life be like if one morning, or how would your life be if one morning you woke up and all of your problems were solved and everything you ever wanted was here in the exact way you wanted it? Tell me how you would feel. emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. What cloud would you be on? Cloud 9, right? But you know, the only way to get there is for you to continue to be yourself each and every day. Challenge yourself. Every time you feel discomfort, you're actually being summoned. You're being summoned to your best self. You're being called and pulled towards that direction. And you're just not used to you're not used to feeling the pull and responding to that pull, because at some point in your life, you have changed your belief system that is wrong. That is not what we do. We don't follow our intuition. We don't do what we want, Yana. We do what we have to. But your intuition calls you to the things that you want to do, that you want to be, that you want to have, that you want to experience. And why would you not want to answer that call? And that call feels uncomfortable until you start answering that call enough times and you get comfortable with answering that call, or wherever your intuition is calling you and you're just following it. And when you get comfortable, then that call is not uncomfortable. It is the very source of fire in your soul. It is the very thing that almost like you live and breathe through that existence, because that is the true you, and you are whole. How do you get there again? You get there by allowing yourself to be yourself every single day, by answering that call that feels uncomfortable. Today, it might be you keep walking by that bed and you haven't made the bed yet, and you know the clock is ticking, and you know you want to make the bed, but at the same time you don't want to make the bed. It's like, I want to, but I don't want to. It's a love and hate relationship. And you know, once you push past that and say, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna go and do it, and you go and do and make that bed, and afterwards you're like, oh, well, now I feel better. Because you know what? It feels like it's a thorn under in your skin, and or a splinter under your skin, and it's nagging you and it's annoying you. And that is what intuition can feel like when you are ignoring it, when you're being called and you're procrastinating on it, because you don't feel quite ready yet. You need just one more minute, one more day, one more week, or one more month, or one more year. And before you know it, you keep putting yourself off. You know, it does not create a happy life. I would love to hear, what do you think will happen? How will you feel? Where will your life be if you put yourself off? Every time that you feel ready for the next thing that you're doing, ready for that conversation to have, ready for that, okay, it's time to organize that closet, right? Or it's time to deal with my son's room and organize the whole entire space, and until that time comes, right? I think I'm really struggling not seeing the comments, to be quite honest. Let me see how I can figure out. Do you guys know how to see comments in your phone? I know there was you can slide and not see the comments, but otherwise the comments should be showing on there. I'm just gonna go into the group and see what the comments are, because I know you ladies are interacting, and I want to make sure that I get to hear all of the gold you guys are sharing. Let me put my technical difficulties here, right? Let me mute my device so that way it doesn't go off like super, super loud. I don't see anything. Yeah, see, I see comments right here. There we go. How do I open? I am very tech savvy. I don't know if you guys can tell. Very, very tech savvy. Oh, Rebecca says a lot of people use another device to read comments. They say real-time comments. I want all comments. A lot of people, okay. Rebecca says, this has been my daily intention. Oh, there's at the bottom, there's a few more comments. Oh my God, why? Why is Facebook doing this? Why is it like, most relevant comments? It can't be that complicated, can it? Is it me or is it Facebook? Why can't I see all of the comments? Maybe I gotta click on the actual live video. There we go. See, that's what you guys do. If you can't see all the comments as it's previewing on the page, you gotta open the actual video and all the comments show on there for you. So great. Good to know. I learned something new. Okay, so real life for Rebecca, which is Rebecca says, good morning. Do you see me? I did see you. Your bubble came up, but the comments weren't showing up. So, and says, wow, powerful topic. It definitely is, because this is, I see it also glitched green for a second just now. Yeah, this topic, it still keeps glitching green. I don't know why. I don't see it on here, but I see it on here. Anyways, I wonder how many of you ladies actually find yourself really struggling, not being able to express yourself, either not being able to express yourself in the way of you don't feel like you're allowed to, or you don't know how, or you simply can't get a pass through your choke, right? Your choke holder, your throat chakra, where you can't actually get the words out, where maybe the panic sets in and you freeze up and you can't. Because it helps me to understand what could be, how your body is responding when you are trying to step back into who you are and being yourself. Whenever the screen is always glitching green, or if it's just on my end, on my computer. And then Kimberly was on here, said hello, hey Kimberly, and then she went on a walk, or that she takes off and walks when you're feeling, because I was asking about what do you do when you're feeling too much, and or you're feeling triggered and things came up for you. What do you do to work through it? And then after you're done after you're done taking off and you're done your walk, and you've allowed yourself to have that time to process. Because some of us need time to process. Other people are able to process things like that and respond quickly, but that does not mean that they've actually processed. Just because people are responding quickly does not mean they're processing. It means that they'll be processing later. Or they might not even process what has happened at all. And that itself is not healthy. It's important to go through what you're going through, to grow through it, to understand it, to sit with it, to really understand yourself and who are you in this moment being, and what about it is triggering. Or maybe somebody's calling you out and it doesn't feel nice, and then what do you do with it? How do you respond? How do you have the conversation? And then Rebecca responded to that, burn sage and wash my face, or take a shower. Those are great. Water, especially on the face, as one of the earth elements, and then burning as well another earth element, and plus the earth itself. Taking a shower is also great. It cleanses the whole body. Close my eyes and take deep breaths, breath work, and decide whether I can shake it off or feel it. See, deciding basically what to do with it. Do I sit with it and work with it? No. Can I work through it on my own, or feel it, or maybe even what is the next step? Maybe there's somebody else involved or something else involved. And I go and doing it. And then what else? Rebecca says, this has been my daily intention. I can't, next comment, I can't imagine that would take time. I've never imagined that before. I'm not exactly sure which one that one was related to. That can't imagine that would take time. I've never imagined that before. But the time is very loud in that sentence. So I know that there's a time block that all of us actually, all of us are living with and dealing with, and feel sometimes overwhelmed. Slide to left and right. Yeah. So that was for the videos where, sorry, for the comments where I was trying to slide and do that. It wasn't even working. I don't know what was happening, or why it's not even showing up on my device. Why Facebook is not. Maybe they've changed some stuff. Who knows? And maybe that's why people now use a different device to see the comments. Change to all comments. And then Rebecca says, I struggled until I was able to express myself during this circle. So that actually, that's a great, thank you for that comment. And thank you for pointing out that the sacred circle on Tuesday that we have might actually be a really great place for those of you who struggle with self-expression verbally, where you get 5 minutes every Tuesday. We have the sacred circle from 10 until 11 every Tuesday. Bethany and I rotate hosting it, where you get 5 minutes. Everybody gets 5 minutes to do a share and express themselves and express what they've been going through, express what they've been healing through or dealing with, or maybe struggling with and not being able to deal with. And it's a great way to practice getting that out, because with that practice, you'll be able to apply it in every other part of your life as well. Because if you practice one thing in your life in one area, it has ripple effects in all the other areas. So we don't just do, we don't just improve strength in our body when we are working out. We're improving strength in our physical, mental, and spiritual bodies, and all the bodies that we have. And on top of it, we're balancing our hormones and healing. Great. I feel trapped and desperate. You said, imagine if we had no problems. Ooh, so that's what you were referring to, a struggle, and that was that you can't imagine that would take time, and I've never imagined that before. See, Rebecca, I hear that this is something that you want to do, and you know that there is a great benefit to envisioning what your life would be like if all of your problems were solved. But I want to ask you a question, and it's going to be a yes or no question. Do you believe it is worth to take time for yourself, however long you believe you would need, to sit with yourself and with a future vision of yourself, for your family, for everyone that you know, of what your life would be like when all of your problems are solved? Like I said, that's a more yes or no question, or exactly yes or no question. And I will leave it at that. Because if if you don't see the power in it right now, that's okay. When you do see the power in it, time will not be an excuse. Time will not be a block. Time will not be a reason for you not doing it. You won't have any reasons, excuses, or any blocks to go sit down and do it. So when you're ready, when you're in that state, in that place to create, because that's what you're going to be doing in that time. It's time for you to sit down and create that vision for yourself. Because how do you know where you're going? And this is the beautiful part about you living your life authentically on your terms, the way you want to live and speaking your truth and being yourself. You got to know where you're going. You are a ship. And if you don't have a destination and a map and a guide to where you're going, how are you going to know you got there? How are you going to even know how to go there? It's like if you can put all the crew and all the people on a ship, but if you don't, and the pirate, no, not the pirate, the captain. He's not the pirate. He's the captain. Okay. So if you put the captain on there, you put the crew, you put all the things that they need, but if you don't tell them where they need to go, how are they going to know where they're going? If you don't put the little gauge that's navigating the ship, right, to guide where's north, where's south, where's east, where's west, what you're doing next, how you get in there, how you're going to know that, hey, you're going in the right direction. Here's one milestone, here's another. How are you going to know where you're going? How is the ship going to get out of harbor if it does not have a destination, or at least a pin somewhere near that destination? So that's why I say that time is one of the biggest human illusions and one of the biggest blocks that humans carry. We all are fearful of time. We all feel uncomfortable with time. You might think, no, I don't feel uncomfortable. No, I don't. When you're late, how do you feel? When how else do we? When you say you're going to do something by this time, another way of calling it late, right? With time, it's really when you're early or when you're late. It feels like that's really when we have too much of it, when we don't have enough of it. When you wake up, I know when I wake up early, and I have been this week. I wake up at around 6 a.m. and I go to bed around 10, 11ish. So and I used to wake up around 7. So having this almost 2 hours, hour and a half to almost 2 hours, if I do wake up earlier, then to me, it feels like my day is so much longer, and I can have so much more time. So if time is the problem, then the solution is very, very simple. Schedule it in. Carve it out. Make sure it happens. If you have a dentist appointment, you carved out time for it. And you're going to make sure that you're going to make it on time and you're going to get there. You got to do the same thing for yourself when it comes to the work that nobody else gets to see. Everybody else gets to see your pearly whites. They get to see maybe you got your eyelashes done, maybe you got your hair done, maybe you did your eyebrows, or whatever work that you have done on yourself externally. People can see that. But the things that you do on the inside, no one sees that. No one hears that. And here's a kicker. Most people don't give a shit. And they're actually happy it's not them, it's you. So unless you surround yourself with the right people, because then those right people will care that you're going through a hard time, and they will be there to help you and support you through it. So let me see a couple of more comments, because I saw them come through. I'm like, can I take my computer and move it this way so it looks like I'm looking at you guys, not to the side? But hey, get the profile vision or profile view vision. Everything is a vision, right? Right now you're seeing me, and it's a vision. not actually happening. Of course it is. Okay, so you said imagine if we had no problems. Yes, so that's where we were. Also, listening to others is inspiring. That one is a huge one. Listen, when you're feeling down, you're feeling like crap, or you can't think or feel clearly, listening to someone else that speaks to your heart, and not just your mind, but especially through your heart, and you feel so deeply connected with, that just makes sense, even though sometimes you might not even know why, it just does. Those are the people that we need in our life. And those are the people, whether they know it or not, because many of them we won't even ever have a conversation with, because they've just been that person for us. And it's not that there's no time, is that I don't know how to explain it, is that we're not meant to meet everyone. We're not meant to have a conversation with all of the people that are the people that transformed and changed, or helped to transform and change our lives, because nobody actually changes and transforms our lives. We're the ones that are doing that. There's people that help and contribute and are part of it. So there are going to be many mentors, many experts that are going to be part of our life that we will never get to experience in real life, even if it's like real life video, because maybe they don't even do those. And I'm curious to hear, who are those people for you? Those people, those mentors, those inspiring individuals that help you during those moments of shame, guilt, embarrassment, unworthiness, and feeling like no one could ever love you because you have forgotten how to even love yourself, because you forgot what love is for a moment. And you need to, so that way you can remember what love actually is. Because love is all there is, and everything else is there to help us feel what love is and the depth of it. So for me, Les Brown was, and still is once in a while, one of those powerful motivational speakers. Tony Robbins, of course. Dean Graziosi is another one. With Dean Graziosi, it's more so business. Joe Dispenza is another one. Greg Braden is another one. I listen to a lot of like brain doctors, because I really, really love like the brain and the body and the mind connection and the human existence. So for me, those are the people I listen to. But there's also some people that I don't know their names, because it takes me time to learn some of these people's names, because it takes me time to really dive into their world. And to, I guess, going back to the beginning of the video when I was talking about the belief of I don't remember people's names, I remember as a teenager, someone said something to me because they're trying to anger me or piss me off. They were talking about how I don't care for people and I don't remember people's names. And for me, my response was, because now thinking about my response, it was that the name of a person doesn't actually matter, because it is not the name that they have chosen. It is the name that was given to them. It is really just a number. It is just a label, but it's not who they are. So I don't take it personally if I don't remember your name, but remember you and your energy and your face, because that is what I remember. That is what we're meant to know about one another and recognize about one another. And essentially, maybe even the scent and the energy. Like, the scent is not just the smell. The scent is the energy and the aura and the essence of a person. So don't take it personal if I don't remember your name, or if it takes me time to remember the name, but I remember your essence. I remember you being. I remember who you are. And that's what matters. You see why I didn't have that many friends growing up? You see what I mean? So it took me years to get here, to not give a shit, what people think about me, because what people think about me is not about me. It's about themselves. And I am just there to trigger them, to help them become aware of their problems, of their issues, of their shit, and not bottle. I shook them up, and whether it was in a good way or in a bad way, right? We don't always shake people up in a bad way where, the shit gets stirred up. The shit can get stirred up when we are feeling like this, and we're just feeling on top of the world, and things get stirred up, and you're like, okay, well, this is great. Now I gotta go do the work, right? That sucks. But I don't want to do the work. So what do I do? It's going to help me to do the work. I see the names that Rebecca was dropping in here. The names she said, Mel Robbins. I also listened to her, the 5-second rule. Oof. I remember it took me so long to resist that technique that I felt and I saw it work, and I knew it was magic. And I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. Why? I'll tell you exactly why. And this is exactly the reasons why you guys are avoiding and procrastinating on the very things that you know you need and want to do to get closer to your true self, is that you are still that hurt child who is sad and upset and is suffering and in pain because she was not allowed to be herself. And now she's trying to figure out who herself is. And it hurts to have been locked up for so long, not being allowed to be yourself, that now I'm figuring these things out. But what about all this time? All that time, you were building up your strength so you can be strong enough to embrace who you are and own it and not give any fucks, because you were not capable of doing that when you were young. Is it not true? Did you have the capabilities that you have now to do the things that you're doing now, to do them back then? No. You needed to go through all of this to get to where you are now, to have the tools, the knowledge that you have gathered in your life, to help you with where you're going. You got to figure out where you're going yourself. You got to draw that picture for yourself. So Joe Dispenza, Kimberly said Joe Dispenza, Rebecca said Joe Dispenza, I said Joe Dispenza. He's amazing. Guys, we need to go to an event, okay? Or maybe attend one of his live events. So yes, or maybe find a way how to get him into the group and have a chat with all of us in the group. Seed planted. He'll be coming one day. Rebecca says, Yana Kasperczak. Oh, thank you. You're the sweetest. Such a flatterer. Erica Dickerson. Sounds familiar. Did she write books? See? Authors as well. I'm not the best at remembering names, because it's like I know the name and then I know that there's something in there. And one day I know, so no, this is a story I'm telling myself. And for now, I'm okay with not addressing this story and working on the story and remembering all these names, because the time will come, and when it comes, it'll happen like this. Marie Forleo, that one as well. I think I already mentioned it. And then also Rebecca said, not everyone is meant to absorb your energy. Not everyone's energy is meant for us. Exactly. Some people, you know this, where you just met people and right away you just feel like there's like the opposite side of a magnet, and you're just feeling like being pushed away. You're like, oh no, please go. Right? Not everybody enjoys this. Not everybody will say Yana Kasperczak is someone who helps them in feeling better and inspires and motivates them. Rebecca said, you're going to be a pirate for Halloween. You got a costume? Nice. I see, and then Rebecca also said, I see the power, but I also felt a block and fear in doing it. Interesting. That's creating that vision. Where do you believe that fear and block is coming from? Where is it coming from? Or maybe you know what it is. Understanding where it's coming from, the root. I know, Rebecca, you attended the webinars. When I was talking the webinar, going into the roots. And this is one of the things all women on their spiritual awakening journey avoid doing. Going in to the roots and dealing with what's there. Understanding it in the way that they need to right now. And then next time you might go back in that same place again and revisit it again until you learn what you need to from that again. And then you go back with your life, as it were, and then you might go back to that same thing again and again and again and again until you finally uncover what's in that knot of roots, if you will, and are able to move on. Because in order for you to move on, you got to learn the lessons. If you don't learn the lessons, you will not be allowed to pass. You will not be allowed to move forward through this story that you carry, through this experience that you carry. And everything that we go through, every single thing is a story. We're telling ourselves stories all the time. You're telling yourself a story right now. I'm telling you stories. So that's the ones that I missed a little bit. And then we went through the names. And, okay. So, and then Rebecca said, I don't know. And that's okay. Right now, there's a lot. I'm seeing the bottle being shook right now. Right now, there's a lot being shook within you. And you cannot see clearly when there's a lot of things stirring up within you. So if you do want to see clearly what is blocking you, what is preventing you, and this one is specifically is going to be the one you will keep going back to. I would almost say, I don't feel like I would be wrong for saying this, that uncovering what is blocking you from you being your true authentic self is going to be your lifelong journey, because you will continue to uncover who you are every single day, and you will continue to evolve that version, because you know this. You're going to get bored of being that same way, just like you already got bored how many times in your life, and you revamped yourself, and you will continue to do that. You're just going to do that from an anabolic state of mind instead of catabolic. And just a reminder, anabolic is the one that builds you up and builds and creates life. And catabolic is like a cannibal. It eats at you and destroys. So good energy and bad energy. Cannibal is a bad cannibal, right? It's catabolic, not cannibal. Catabolic energy and anabolic. So you will be dealing with life and all its problems from a place of anabolic energy, where you'll continue to grow and love your journey, versus catabolic, where you continue to deal with resistance, with pressure, with irritation, with frustration, with procrastination, with consistency, with resilience, with your discomforts, with fears, with all of the things that cloud your clean water bottle when it is shook. And only you can work through those things, because only you know when they're up, when they're floating up and about, because you feel it in your body. When you don't feel like yourself, because the old self is there. The old self, the program, there's things that are being brought up. You don't necessarily need to spend time. You can, depends on where you are in your journey, what parts you're trying to work through and figure out, but you don't have to spend time figuring out what caused this, why you are back to certain parts of your old self. But it does help in figuring out, because it is something that could have triggered you the day before, the night before, or a couple of days, or you could have been carrying it. You could have wanted to have a conversation or say something to someone, on a Friday, and today is what, Thursday, and today you might start to feel a certain way because once in a while that memory of I wanted to have a conversation pops up, and now today your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit decided that you needed to learn about that lesson on Friday, and you're going to spend some time with it, and you didn't, and you will continue to feel worse and worse and worse. And when something so seemingly small as one conversation that you want to have doesn't get dealt with in, let's say, in a week, right? And then within that week, you have another conversation that's seemingly small you didn't have, and another conversation you didn't have, and another conversation you didn't have within that week. Now, by Thursday, of course, you're going to feel like crap when you were supposed to have 5 conversations, maybe with the same person, but you didn't have them. So now you have to deal with these 5 things you didn't deal with instead of 1. Now imagine your lifetime of things that you said you were going to do and you didn't do. Of course you're going to feel like a piece of shit. Of course you're going to feel like you're not enough because you made promises to yourself and to others and you never did them. But you know your true self sticks to her promises and does the things that she says she's going to do. Integrity is the word. So when you break integrity to yourself, because you also said you're going to do things for how many people in your life and you didn't want to do them, and you just said yes just to shut them up. Consciously or unconsciously. Did you do those things after or not? That's besides the point. But all of these things over a lifetime and accumulation causes us to feel a certain way, and then more often than not causes us to go within, shut down, awaken, and then realize that there's so much more, and then we start to heal and grow and work on ourselves. So that's all for what was the topic today. Until you fully embrace and allow yourself to be 100% yourself, you will continue to feel imprisoned. This is a prison that we each built for ourselves unconsciously because we did not know anything, and we did the best we could with what we knew at the time. And most of these things were created within us at a very young age, when we were not even awake, when we were still in a dream state of mind. And then we started to wake up, and little by little, we started to argue and fight with the world. And the world pushed us down and told us to stay down and not be that nail that keeps popping up, that we keep hammering down. And you agreed for a while. And after a while, it became tired and exhausting, where you could no longer live that way. You could no longer suffer and can put up with that prison. So you broke free from that prison of the sleeper. And now you are in a different prison of the mind, where you know you're free, but yet you don't believe you are. And that is where the work needs to happen. In the believing part, in the limiting beliefs, just to name a few, but not in the knowing, because you know you're free, but you still struggle with believing and seeing how you actually are free. So, or if we actually now use the power of the words and how I understand words, when we know something, we can't unknow. So right now, you believe you're free, but you don't actually know that you're free. So what you need to do is you need to uncover all the reasons, and not the reasons, but all the ways that you already know that you are free, to remind you that you are free. So you can stop believing. Because believing, you're just waiting for evidence. You're waiting for proof. And that's why you believe that you're free. But when you know you're free, no one can change your mind. No one can imprison you. Even if you are in prison, you would know that you're free. And no one can ever take that away from you. So, I know we all believe that we are free, but we are all working towards knowing that we're free. And when we know, we know. that's all. I think, there we go. Where's the other one? Oh, I have 4 pages open. That's why. Like, where is the other Facebook that I have open? Okay. So that's all I have for you guys for today. Just making sure there's no other comments. And then Rebecca says, the last one says, wow. I hope that one was one of your takeaways, and that the connections, the neural pathways, they will continue to grow and build, and that's where the connections happen, right? With the neural pathways. The aha moment is a neural pathway being created where things are making sense and things are aligning, and the path seems much more clear to maybe not where you're going, but perhaps starting with who you want to be. Maybe, Rebecca, that's where you might want to start with. Who do you want to be? And how will your life be when you are the who you want to be? So maybe starting there. And then from that point, everything else, just the life and everything else, you'll just be able to see it like this. So if you're not able to see the life, then maybe starting with the who. Because if you don't know who you are, how can you see how your life is going to be? So the basics, really. I say it's the basics, but to even thinking of myself when I started my journey 7 years ago, I would have said this is not the basics, but at the same time, it really, really is the basics. Our feelings, emotions, our thoughts, our habits, everything that makes us us, right? Our values, those are the basics. Those are the things that we should have figured out when we went to school, and then revised it as we evolved with it. So otherwise, that is all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Looking forward to hearing your aha moments. What was your biggest aha moment for you today? That connection that you have made, neural pathway. And until next time, guys. Next Thursday, actually, let me pull out the topic for next Thursday so you guys know what I will be talking about next Thursday. Get your shit together. Weekly live guidance with myself. 11:30 every Thursday. How to live in peace and not wait to rest in peace. Enough said with that one, okay? That one is also going to be a good one. So I'll see you on Thursday for how to live in peace and not wait to rest in peace. And the next event that we have coming up, today is Thursday, which will be Monday, will be my live intuitive reading. And I've decided I'm going to do my best to stick just to the cards, and once in a while bring in my coach training books, because I'm thinking I might end up leaving those books for some other videos that I might do. Yeah, anyways, that's it. Or if you guys are like the change with the cards and the epic books, then I can continue doing that once in a while, but we'll see. Still trying to kind of figure out what works best for everyone for these videos. Other than that, I will see you in the next event. Bye everybody. Thanks for watching, and until next time.